Should I offer him a job, folks? I might. Why don't I do that?
Hi, it's Paddy speaking.
Paddy, Sean Plunket here.
Hi, Sean. Oh, you're not going to do the thing that you did to me.
Well, look, I'm just... okay, can I just ask you, would you be available for an interview this morning?
Sean, one second, Sean. Remember when you publicly apologised to me? You were forced to publicly apologise to me for ringing me up and putting me on the air.
When?
Back in the day when you were at Radio Live, and you rang me up without telling me that I was on the air.
Yeah.
And you...
Paddy, you're on the air.
Into an interview.
Paddy, you're on the air.
Apologised.
Let's not do that again. You're on the air.
Right.
Okay. Have you got 5 minutes?
Done that this time.
Have you got 5 minutes?
Do you remember the public?
No, I don't. No, I don't. Gosh, a lot of water's gone under the bridge since then, mate.
No, just good. Hey, Google it. Google Plunket apologises to Paddy.
I haven't got time to Google. I'm doing a live radio show and you're part of it.
Sean, I remember that you hated apologising to me. You absolutely hated it. And that was the last time you got called out calling me for without telling me it was an interview.
Well, this is an interview, Paddy. Are you good with that?
Not really. Why would I be?
Well, because you're talking to everyone else, Paddy, and democracy is at risk here.
Well, what about just basic manners? Like, get someone to call me, I say I'm
Paddy,
going to come
have you
on,
never chased anyone down a corridor at Parliament?
Well, there's a completely different scenario. You've got a radio show.
Okay. Well, let's agree to disagree.
No, I'm not. No. Sean, stop for a second. Let's not agree to disagree. Like, why don't you use basic manners and basic techniques?
So you've never chased anyone down a corridor at Parliament, Paddy?
That's completely different. That is completely different.
No,
you're putting up a straw man in this argument here. Every other radio station and TV station actually shows some basic manners. And when I get someone on my TV
well, I tell you what we don't do, Paddy. We don't turn off the comment section.
Well. Hey, Sean, all I'm asking from you is some professional courtesy.
Okay, Paddy, so here's the professional courtesy.
Hey, Sean, stop for a second. Stop showing off to your listeners and just show a bit of professional courtesy and say, hey, Paddy, why don't you come on and do an interview?
Paddy, why don't you come on and do an interview?
Okay, thank you for asking so nicely. I guess I've got no choice.
I'm sorry, I didn't say please, and I'm saying please. Please, why don't you come on and do an interview?
Yeah, but at least you had a nice tone, because
I've always got a nice tone, Paddy.
That kind of aggressive attitude, doesn't really work. So thank you. Well, thank you, Sean.
Okay, so that's good. Good.
And it works because I can't hang up, because then you're like, you do all that. I'm the clever guy. I've caught him out. He's hung up. So you sort of like got me on the line now. I kind of know how it works.
Okay, that's good. All right.
So what's your question? Fire away.
So my question, are you? Well, firstly, obviously you're disappointed. Obviously you're disappointed.
Let's get into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fire away. What's the question? Come on.
All right. What do you think?
What's the interview about? Sean? Let's go.
You're right now? You're settled?
I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm waiting for your question.
What would you say is the major factor behind the demise of, well, let's call it independent television news in New Zealand over the last 30 years? What do you think was the tipping point or the main factor behind the very sad announcement yesterday?
Well, there's no one tipping point or there's no one factor, but, one of the most crucial ones is that the New Zealand economy has actually tanked. All of the advertising dollars have gone out of the market. I think we can see that not just in media, but across everything. That's actually created a real and present danger for New Zealand businesses, for New Zealand companies. And that's created an insane amount of pressure on, be it a state-owned organisation like TVNZ, or a global corporate like Warner Brothers Discovery, or smaller New Zealand businesses that are running media as well. So it's that clear and present danger, actually, just from the dysfunctioning New Zealand economy at the moment, means no one's got any runway, no one's got any leeway. And that's what...
So if our economy was in better shape, this wouldn't be happening?
If the economy was in better shape, we'd have more runway. We know there's all of these complicated strategic problems that have been going on and structural problems really in the media that have been going on since I walked in the doors of the New Zealand Herald. I darkened the doors of the New Zealand Herald 25 years ago. And there's been issues with the internet, issues with social media, all of these things.
So can we blame So do we blame Grant Robertson for not running the economy well for the last 6 years?
Well, we can't blame anyone. I mean, there's a whole lot of people we can run around blaming. There's all sorts of problems. We can blame Mark Zuckerberg. We can blame Adrian Orr. We can blame, we can blame Paddy Gower. We can blame all sorts of people. Blame's not going to get us anywhere. Blame's not going to bring back news up. Blame's not going to employ journos. What is optimism, finding a way, getting out there, doing the grunt work, getting some good yarns and finding new ways of paying for it. You're someone, actually, I'll give you some credit. You've come up with a new model. It's working, Sean. Good on you.
I'm going to be honest, Paddy. We haven't figured it out yet, but we know it's got to be a different way. And it's bloody challenging because it is an absolutely new way of doing things. And I spend more time off air thinking about how we make this work and how we stay nimble and how we survive than I do actually doing the journalism, which is crazy. And I looked at the model that, I think is coming to an end now of the relatively monolithic news or media organisation that controls its means of distribution, and it doesn't work. And I think whatever the economy is, it's actually the technology via the internet that has changed the whole world, and that's bloody hard to adopt to because it changes all the time now. Yeah,
but you've found a new model. You've innovated and you've found a new model, and it's working for you. It may not be working as well as you want just yet, but at least you've gone and done something. You've innovated, and that's awesome. And you're quite right. The tools are changing. In some ways, the tools of television are really big and unwieldy and expensive. You've worked in it. You've seen the masses of people that you need in there sometimes. But the internet equally is making it easier and easier to do things. Look at the kind of operation that you're able to put out. That would have only been in your dreams 10 or 15 years ago that you could do something like that. And that's what technology's enabled. So, technology's kind of hindering us, but it can help us as well. And you're someone who's showed that it can be done. You've found a different way of getting funded, and you're using technology to your advantage.
Yeah. Well, Paddy, look, I look at a guy like Lee. You have got one of the strongest brands in New Zealand media. There's just absolutely no doubt about it. Okay.
Are you okay? Are you okay?
No, what I say, but you have. There's just no doubt about it.
No, Sean. Yeah. Sean, are you okay?
Yeah.
It sounded okay. Yeah,
but you have. But here's my question, and I think it's a big question, and it's not necessarily about you personally. But what in a market of 5 million people, and about 2.5 of them, 3 million of them are the commercially available market for media in New Zealand. It's bloody hard because, and I look at guys like Mike Mora, right, who I think's a superb reporter as well, and a whole lot of people in that organisation, very, very professional and good at what they do. But TVNZ is retrenching, and I think the mainstream media in general are retrenching. And it's kind of a personal question, but I think you're a good example. What the hell does Paddy Gower do next? Because I'd hate to see you go and do PR. Or go and do politics. So what do all those talented individuals do?
Sean, is this a radio interview for the platform, or is this an interview that you're doing here? You're being so nice to me.
Well, no, look, it's the reality of the situation. I think it's really interesting.
Well, yes, it is interesting. And I mean, to be honest, I've been involved with the group led by Michael Mora that's been pushing back against the company's proposal and trying to come up with a counter proposal that it didn't actually get anywhere in the end, Sean, but we tried. So I've been pretty busy the last few weeks, and I haven't really thought too much about the future as yet. Obviously, I've got to think about it now, and as soon as I hang up the phone, actually, when you rang, I was starting to think about it as I crossed the road in Victoria Street here in Auckland, going, what the hell am I going to do? And that question's not going to change. But I'll tell you this, when News Hub shuts down on July the 5th at 7 p.m. or 6:59 or 7:01 or whatever it is, I've got to go out and find a way back because I'm not leaving journalism. I'm not stopping doing journalism in New Zealand. And, there's a tough market out there. There's a small market out there. but it's a market of people that I happen to love, Kiwis. And I'm going to find a way to get back and do journalism.
And Paddy, I'm going to tell you personally, mate, there is a way. And you will find a way because that's your attitude.